The afternoon sun cast long shadows across Telegraph Avenue in Oakland when 12-year-old Maya Johnson first spotted him. A small, fluffy golden retriever was wandering aimlessly near the busy intersection, his tail tucked between his legs, confusion written across his gentle face. Cars honked as they swerved around the frightened animal, and Maya's heart immediately went out to this lost soul. Maya had always been different from other kids her age. While her classmates rushed past homeless people on the street or ignored lost pets, Maya couldn't help but stop and care. Her grandmother always said she had an old soul in a young body, someone who understood right from wrong with a clarity that amazed the adults around her. As she approached the dog carefully, speaking in soft, reassuring tones, Maya noticed several things that would prove crucial in the days ahead. This wasn't a stray dog. His golden fur was professionally groomed, his teeth were pearly white, and despite his current disheveled state, everything about him screamed, beloved family pet. Someone, somewhere, was probably frantically searching for this beautiful animal. But Maya had no idea that her next decision would set off a chain of events that would change not just her life, but the lives of multiple families in ways that seemed almost too incredible to believe. She was about to face a choice that would reveal the true measure of her character, a choice that many adults would struggle with, but one that this remarkable 12-year-old would handle with wisdom beyond her years. The dog looked up at her with trusting brown eyes, and Maya made her first decision. She couldn't just leave him here to get hurt or worse. Whatever happened next, she knew she had. Maya's neighborhood wasn't the kind of place where lost golden retrievers usually wandered. The modest apartments and small houses of her Oakland community were home to hardworking families who counted every penny and knew the value of a dollar. Maya's own family was no exception to this reality. She lived with her grandmother, Rosa Johnson, in a small two-bedroom apartment above Mrs. Chen's corner market. Rosa worked two jobs, cleaning offices downtown during the day and stocking shelves at the local grocery store 3 nights a week. Despite her exhaustion, she never complained. She was raising Maya alone after her daughter, Maya's mother, had passed away in a car accident when Maya was just 7 years old. Money was always tight in the Johnson household. Maya wore hand-me-down clothes from the church donation box, and their dinners often consisted of rice, beans, and whatever vegetables were on sale that week. Maya had learned early not to ask for things they couldn't afford, and she had been diligently saving her small allowance, 50 cents per week for helping her grandmother with chores, for over 8 months now. Her goal was modest but important to her. She wanted to buy a new set of colored pencils and a sketchbook. Art was Maya's passion, her escape from the worries of everyday life. She would spend hours drawing in the margins of her school notebooks, creating elaborate scenes of families playing in parks, children with rooms full of toys, and dogs running free in wide-open spaces. When Maya scooped up the lost golden retriever, she immediately noticed something that made her pause. Around his neck was the remnant of what had obviously been an expensive collar. She could see where a GPS tracking device had been attached, though it was now missing. The hardware was silver, possibly even real silver, and the craftsmanship was nothing like the simple nylon collars she'd seen on neighborhood dogs. This dog belonged to someone with money, someone who could afford the best veterinary care, the finest food, professional grooming, and high-tech safety equipment. As Maya carried the 30-pound dog up the stairs to their apartment, she found herself facing a moral dilemma that would have challenged people twice her age. She could keep the dog. After all, who would know? There was no identification, and he'd been wandering the streets alone. Maya had always wanted a pet, but her grandmother could barely afford to feed the two of them, let alone a dog. Or she could try to sell him. A purebred golden retriever in good health would probably bring several $100s, maybe even 1,000. That money could change their lives. But as Maya looked into those trusting brown eyes, she knew what her grandmother would say, and more importantly, she knew what was right. Someone loved this dog, and that someone was probably heartbroken right now. No amount of money was worth causing that kind of pain to another person. The decision was made before she even consciously realized it. Maya was going to find this dog's real family, no matter what it cost her personally. Maya's grandmother, Rosa, came home from her day job to find her granddaughter sitting on the floor with a golden retriever, both of them looking somewhat guilty. After Maya explained the situation, Rose's first instinct was practical concern. They couldn't afford to feed a dog, even temporarily. But when she saw the determination in Maya's eyes and heard her granddaughter's reasoning, Rose's heart swelled with pride. This was the granddaughter she had raised, someone who would do the right thing even when it was difficult. Mija, she said, using her pet name for Maya, we'll figure it out, but we can't keep him forever. The next morning, Maya woke up early and began her mission. Using her grandmother's ancient computer and the slow internet connection they could barely afford, she researched everything she could about lost pets. She learned about posting flyers, contacting animal shelters, and using social media to spread the word. Maya spent her lunch money at school that day on supplies, colored paper, markers, and enough copies to post flyers throughout the neighborhood. She hand-drew a picture of the dog, having discovered his temporary name would be Buddy since she had to call him something. Her artistic skills, honed through years of drawing in notebook margins, finally had a practical purpose. The flyer read, "Found. Golden Retriever, very friendly, well cared for. Found on Telegraph Avenue. Obviously loved and missed. Free to real owner with proof." At the bottom, she added her grandmother's phone number and a simple message. No questions asked, just want him home safe. For 3 days, Maya followed the same routine. She would wake up early, walk Buddy around the neighborhood before school, hoping to spot someone frantically searching for their pet. After school, she would check their makeshift water and food bowls, purchased with her art supply savings, and take Buddy on another walk, this time with flyers to post in new locations. Maya watched her savings disappear day by day. Dog food, flyers, even the small reward she offered to anyone who could help spread the word on social media. It all added up quickly. By the end of the second day, her 8 months of careful saving were completely gone. But something else was happening too. Maya was falling in love with Buddy despite her best efforts to remain detached. He was intelligent, gentle, and seemed to understand that she was trying to help him. He would sit patiently while she did homework, rest his head on her lap while she sketched, and even seemed to comfort her when she worried about their dwindling resources. Her grandmother noticed the bond forming between them. "Maya," Rosa said on the third evening, "what if his owners never call? What if they've given up looking?" Maya looked at Buddy, who was sleeping peacefully beside her on the small couch. "Then I guess we'll figure out how to keep him, Grandma. But I have to believe someone loves him as much as we're starting to." On the fourth day, Maya was beginning to lose hope. She had posted flyers at the coffee shop, the library, both grocery stores, the community center, and even asked her teacher to share the information with other classes. Her grandmother had shared the post on her Facebook account, and Mrs. Chen had put a flyer in her store window. Maya was sitting on her front steps after school, sketching a picture of Buddy and trying not to think about the fact that they now had less than $10 left for groceries this week, when her grandmother's phone rang. The man's voice on the other end of the phone was shaking with emotion. "Hello, my name is Robert Williams. I think you found my dog." "Charlie?" Maya's heart started racing. "Can you describe him?" "Golden Retriever, about 2 years old, maybe 30 pounds. He's got a small white patch on his chest and a tiny scar on his left front paw from when he was a puppy." Robert's voice caught. "He's wearing a blue collar with a GPS tracker, but sometimes he manages to slip out of it when he gets scared." Maya looked down at Buddy, Charlie, and her throat tightened. The white patch was there, hidden under his fluffy chest fur, and the small scar on his paw was exactly where Robert described it. This was really happening. "When can you come over?" Maya asked, though part of her wanted to hang up and pretend the call never happened. "I can be there in 20 minutes. And I can't thank you enough. You have no idea what this means to our family." Maya spent those 20 minutes giving Charlie the best goodbye she could. She brushed his fur until it shined, gave him fresh water and a small treat she'd been saving, and whispered to him about how much these 4 days had meant to her. "You're going home to people who love you," she told him. "That's all that matters." When Robert Williams arrived, Maya understood immediately that Charlie belonged to a different world than hers. Robert drove a Tesla, wore clothes that probably cost more than her grandmother made in a month, and carried himself with the confidence of someone who had never worried about choosing between groceries and electricity bills. But the reunion between Robert and Charlie was immediate and overwhelming. Charlie nearly knocked his owner over with excitement, whimpering and spinning in circles while Robert knelt on the sidewalk, tears streaming down his face as he hugged his dog. "Charlie, Charlie, we've been so scared," Robert whispered into the dog's fur. "Emma has been in the hospital twice because you weren't there." Maya didn't understand what he meant, but she could see this wasn't just about a beloved pet. There was something deeper, more urgent about Robert's relief. Robert stood up, still emotional, and really looked at Maya for the first time. He saw a 12-year-old girl in clothes that were clean but clearly secondhand, standing in front of a small apartment building in a neighborhood where his car probably cost more than most families made in several years. But he also saw something else: kindness, integrity, and a maturity that took his breath away. "You don't understand what you've done for my family," Robert said, his voice still unsteady. "Charlie isn't just our pet. He's my daughter Emma's medical alert dog. She has type 1 diabetes, and Charlie is specially trained to detect when her blood sugar drops to dangerous levels. He can smell the chemical changes in her body and alert us before she goes into a diabetic coma." Maya's eyes widened as the full impact of the situation hit her. This wasn't just about reuniting a family with their beloved pet. Charlie was literally a lifesaver. "Emma is 14, just 2 years older than you," Robert continued. "For the past 4 days, without Charlie there to monitor her, she's had 2 severe hypoglycemic episodes that put her in the emergency room. We've been terrified, and my daughter has been blaming herself, thinking Charlie ran away because of something she did." Robert reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a white envelope. "I know you probably spent your own money taking care of Charlie. I know how easy it would have been for you to just keep him, or ignore those flyers, or even try to sell him. A purebred golden retriever in good health can be worth thousands of dollars." He handed Maya the envelope with hands that were still trembling slightly. "But your honesty, your kindness, your determination to do the right thing, you literally saved my daughter's life. There's no amount of money that could repay that, but I want you to have this." Maya opened the envelope with her grandmother looking over her shoulder. Inside were 80 crisp $100 bills. $8,000. More money than Maya had ever imagined holding, let alone owning. For a moment, Maya couldn't speak. $8,000 would solve every financial problem their family faced. They could pay rent for months in advance, buy groceries without worrying, maybe even move to a better apartment. Her grandmother could quit one of her jobs and actually rest sometimes. But Robert wasn't finished. "Maya, I've been successful in business because I've learned to recognize character when I see it. What you did, taking care of Charlie, spending your own money, posting flyers, never giving up, that shows me the kind of person you are. And I want to do more than just say thank you." What happened in the following week still seems almost too incredible to believe, but sometimes real life is more remarkable than any fiction we could imagine. Robert Williams wasn't just grateful, he was inspired. That evening, he went home to his daughter Emma, who was overjoyed to have Charlie back, but even more amazed by the story of the 12-year-old girl who had saved his life. Emma, who attended an expensive private school and had never really thought about families who struggled financially, was deeply moved by Maya's sacrifice in integrity. "Dad," Emma said that night, "I want to meet her. I want to thank her myself." The next day, Robert called Maya's grandmother and asked if he could bring Emma over to meet Maya properly. What was supposed to be a simple thank you visit turned into something much more significant. Emma and Maya connected immediately despite their different backgrounds. Emma was fascinated by Maya's artwork, and Maya was amazed by Emma's stories about Charlie's medical training. The two girls spent hours talking, and by the end of the afternoon, they felt like they'd been friends for years. But Robert was observing something else during that visit. He saw how Maya's grandmother worked herself to exhaustion, how their apartment was clean but sparse, how Maya's artistic talent was obvious despite having only basic supplies to work with. He saw a family that was rich in love and character, but struggling with the basic necessities of life. That night, Robert made a decision that would change everything. He researched scholarship programs and discovered that Maya's grades were excellent despite the challenges she faced at home. He learned about her perfect attendance record, her volunteer work helping younger students with reading, and her reputation among teachers as someone who was wise beyond her years. Within 2 weeks, Robert had established the Maya Johnson Character Scholarship, a full-ride scholarship program that would pay for Maya's education from high school through college, including art supplies, books, and even living expenses. The scholarship wasn't just about academic achievement. It was specifically designed for students who demonstrated exceptional character and integrity. But Robert's generosity didn't stop there. He offered Maya's grandmother a well-paying remote customer service position with his tech company, allowing her to work from home and finally quit her exhausting nighttime job. The position came with full health insurance, paid vacation time, and opportunities for advancement. Maya used the initial $8,000 reward in a way that surprised even Robert. She kept a small portion to buy the art supplies she had been saving for, but she donated the majority to the local animal shelter, specifically requesting that the money be used to help reunite lost pets with their families and to provide medical care for animals whose owners couldn't afford veterinary bills. If Charlie taught me anything, Maya told the local news reporter who covered the story, it's that doing the right thing isn't about getting rewarded. It's about who you choose to be when nobody's watching. And there are probably other lost animals out there whose families are just as scared as Mr. Williams was. The story of Maya and Charlie spread far beyond Oakland. Local news stations picked it up, then regional outlets, and eventually it was featured in national publications as an example of how character and kindness can create ripple effects that transform entire communities. But perhaps the most beautiful part of this story happened in the months that followed. Emma Williams, inspired by Maya's example and grateful for her role in saving Charlie's life, began volunteering at the same animal shelter Maya had donated to. The two girls worked together every Saturday, helping care for lost and abandoned animals, and their friendship became a bridge between two very different worlds. Emma learned about resilience, gratitude, and the real meaning of wealth from Maya. Maya learned about opportunities, possibilities, and dreaming big from Emma. Both girls learned that meaningful connections can happen anywhere, anytime, when people choose kindness over self-interest. Robert's scholarship program grew beyond just helping Maya. Inspired by the response to Maya's story, he expanded it into a foundation that has now provided educational opportunities for over 50 young people who demonstrated character and integrity despite facing financial challenges. Maya is now 16 and thriving in high school. Her artwork has been featured in several local galleries, and she's already been accepted to art school with her scholarship, ensuring she'll graduate debt-free. Her grandmother Rosa finally has financial security and has even been able to save money for the first time in years. Emma is 18 and just started college, where she's studying to become a diabetes educator, inspired by her